Well, it's another beautiful evening here on our planet, and the factory is looking pretty dang bad. Why? Because we just unlocked Mark II miners in our last episode, and what we need to do is give the entire factory a massive boost. There's a lot to do in this episode of the Green Hand Satisfactory 1.0 guided playthrough. The very first thing we're going to do is just survey the scene here and see what we're dealing with. We've got these impure iron nodes. There's 4 of them over there. We had to use all 4 just to get 120 iron, which is pretty pathetic, to produce some of our more basic materials, as well as our reinforced iron plates right there, our rotors right there, and our smart plating right there. Funny enough, we are almost done with smart plating. We've got our 928th piece popping into the space elevator as we've done all the other episodes on this playthrough. So let's figure out what we're going to do. The first thing I want to show you is an unlock that we did off camera. So we unlocked Mark III logistics, which gave us an industrial storage container, so a bigger storage container, a Mark III conveyor belt, which is 270 resources a minute, and then some extra logistics products. So really it's the unlock of the Mark III conveyor belt that gives us a lot of leeway. So let me show you a little factory upgrade I did over here, because once you get that Mark II miner, you can instantly double your output for every single node. So this was an impure limestone node, it still is, but now it's outputting 60 a minute instead of 30. And then over here on our normal node, we're outputting 120 instead of 60 for a total of 180 limestone, which means that we are combining that right here. We needed our Mark III conveyor belt because we're over our 120 cap on our Mark IIs. So all I did here is just double the output of the entire factory with a few clicks and a couple extra machines. So what we've got is 2 constructors over here taking up 45 limestone each, 2 over here taking up 45 each. That's a total of 180, and we are producing 15 per minute times 4, 60 concrete per minute are going into our industrial storage container with a dimensional depot on top. So we are going to have no problem keeping our concrete in stock for now. I would say that's pretty good for the start of the game, at least for a dedicated concrete factory. Now what we need to do is upgrade these guys here, as well as show you a little blueprint design that I made that I think you will like. So when you get to this phase of the game, you probably want to start getting into Blueprint World. So I'm going to load up the one that I just built, which was the one that I used to design that concrete factory, and I'll explain it to you from above here. This is a really simple one to build. You don't need a tutorial really, you just kind of need to look at it real quick and you'll get a sense for it. So what we have here is a splitter that is taking resources from outside of the blueprint system in. It is then splitting half of the output over there and half over this way, and then there's splitters bringing that into each individual constructor. Then the constructor's output, so these are mirrored constructors here, so these ones are feeding this way and the ones on the right are feeding this way to the center to go right out here. So it's a one-click construct. I also added a power pole with a couple connections. And again, we can go back to our concrete facility and show you exactly how that was set up. See, so there's our input, there's our constructors, and our output is going out this way. It's a really good, simple blueprint to make if you have 4 constructors worth of processing to do. And there's a million different iterations you could do to a blueprint like that, and you could save them all. As we upgrade our factories, we probably are going to want to deck them out just a little bit, which means we need some more stuff from the shop, which means we need some points. And so let's set up an automated point generator using our quickwire facility over here. So we're going to double our quickwire output, and we're just going to sink half of it because look, we have so much quickwire. We're really not going to need that much at this phase of the game. So first off, we double our output here. Let's just double check how much we are actually going to be getting. Yeah, 240 a minute, which means we need to go Mark III on all of these right here. And we are taking 45 Caterium per minute for our ingots. So 240 into 45, that's 5.3. So my 240 ore I need to build 6 smelters off of, which actually makes this a really good example of using a load balancing style system. So what I can do is throw a splitter right here in front of this guy. I can build a smelter in front of it, a smelter to the side, and connect those. And then I can also pull off 2 more smelters here that will be split off of this guy right here, and I'll do the same thing over here. The reason this works so well is because we are taking our 240, splitting it into 6 smelters, which means if we use the 3 outputs from the initial splitter, it'll split into perfect thirds and split those into perfect halves, which is exactly what we want to do. So this is an example of a simple load balancing system. It's the first time we haven't used a manifold system in this playthrough. It looks a little bit uneven, but it's honestly not that big a deal. Okay, we're going to be getting 15 Caterium a minute times 5 1/3 smelters. That's going to be 80 Caterium a minute. And we're using 12. So we're going to need to build quite a few of these guys. Almost 7 constructors. This is where blueprints come in handy. I need 7 constructors, but I have a blueprint that is giving me 4, right? So what I can do is I will just place one right here. There's my 4, perfectly split. And I'm going to extend my foundations out and just duplicate this and then delete one constructor at the very end of the blueprint. So we're going to need to adjust this just slightly because, of course, we do not need the splitting mechanism in front. So I'm going to clip that over just for now, and then I'm going to adjust the build once it actually spawns itself in here. There it is. So we do not need, let's go to normal default mode. We do not need these components right here. All we have to do is steal this and extend our transport system, and we effectively have an 8 constructor array. Of course, we are clipping like a crazy man right there. Because we do not need one of these constructors, we're just going to turn one of them off. Don't forget to connect your power poles. So we're up and running with our double setup here, but the thing to remember is that, remember, we are creating 80 Caterium ingots a minute. We only require 12 per constructor to produce 60. So if we do a little bit of fancy math here, we're going to be getting way more than our belts can handle, 400 quick wire a minute. So what I'm going to do is, instead of connecting this output line, see, I have some quick wire there, I also have some quick wire there, I'm just going to lift this out with a Mark III lift over this way, and this is what's going to go to our awesome sink. Our other half is going to feed right into our newly upgraded industrial storage buffer, and now we get to solve our awesome sink automation. So the thing that you have to know about awesome sinks is you can have as many on the map as you can possibly afford to build. So we're going to throw another one down. We don't need it ferried to our original awesome sink. As long as we're powered up here, we're good to go. And take a look at that. 200 quick wire a minute are going to be chunking away at our awesome coupons. We need these awesome points because look at our coal facility. If we're going to keep building huge factories, then we need them to have a little bit more character than that. Right? Or if we're going to build some awesome blueprints, I want some accoutrements that I can add to that blueprint. So our automation has started for our awesome sink. You can actually see progress at any awesome sink. It's going to show you, and it'll also show you your points per minute. So we are kind of slowly making our way through. This is not a lot of points per minute, but hey, it's better than nothing. I do want to unlock some more milestones in our hub. We have one left in Tier 3, vehicular transport. Tractors, truck stations, more inventory slots. The problem, I need 100 rotors and I do not have a rotor factory. So we're going to retroactively reset this entire area now. So I need to upgrade all of these miners to Mark II, and I'm going to deconstruct and reconstruct this. The second the smart plating takes 100. Well, it took a bit, but we just blank slated our factory. And we have a little bit left over here because our smart plating was just finishing up, but even that is complete and we're backing up on our smart plating. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to build a couple simple factories for rotors and reinforced iron plates. So that is going to be the 2 little factories we're going to be making out of this 240 ore over here. But before I do that, I want to make a quick blueprint that's just going to make my life a lot easier. It's a quick smelting array. So I'm going to build it in a similar fashion to how I built the 4x constructor array. We're just going to use smelters instead, and I need a merger here with the output, again, going away from where I am headed. We'll go like that, we'll reverse it, we'll go like that, and we can build the rest of this on the floor. There's so many times where you need to build really quick factories, and smelting is a feature of almost all of them. The reason I put one here, a splitter here, even though it's splitting into nothing, is because if you extend the blueprint, you're going to wish you had it. So I have my smelter array, and this is kind of like a chunky style array. It's pretty wide, but it's not that long, so you can extend it out this way. Of course, you could design this in a manifold style, keep it more compact. The only thing we have to do is add a touch of power here, and I'm just going to use a power pole Mark II. We can unlock some stuff that makes this a little bit more attractive in the future, but right now I don't think it looks too bad to jam it in here and just give ourselves the ability to create some power. So let's start out with our reinforced iron plate factory. This is going to produce 10 per minute. You'll notice we have 60 ore here and 60 ore here for a total of 120, which is exactly what we need for this recipe and this automation. So what we're going to do is merge this together, and let me show you the production chain. So 120 ore a minute can produce 10 reinforced iron plates, which is actually a fantastic ratio. So we just built the blueprint for this 4x smelter array. Then we need to peel off 30 of those to build some cast screws. Remember, we're still using that alternate cast screw recipe. That's going to give us 120 screws a minute, which goes into our 2x assembler array for our plates. And then we're going to peel off the other 90 ingots for 3 constructors, which gives us the 60 plates we need. And you will see once we plug this all in that that's exactly the ratio we need to produce 10 reinforced iron plates out of exactly 2 assemblers. So let's first throw down our smelter array, and we can do this kind of anywhere we like. Maybe I'll go right about there. Then we need our merger to come in here and throw our ore up there. Okay, we have our 120 ingots. Now, consulting our recipe, we need 3 constructors using 90 of those ingots for our plates, and we need basically 3 constructors for our cast screws because we still don't have the ability to overclock, which we're going to get in the next episode. Don't worry about it. So we need to split 3/4 of our ingots and 1/4 of our ingots into 2 different production lines. If you want the lazy man's way to do it, you would just run a manifold with 6 constructors, have half of them do screws and have half of them do plates. And that is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to pull off of this line. We're going to treat this line now as our input line, whereas on our smelter array is our output line. And we're going to run it straight down this way, and we're going to throw some constructors down that are taking from this section here. The thing to know, if you've already placed a conveyor belt down, you can split off of it a lot of the times if you snap it. So if I snap, it'll bisect and it'll actually split off. See how it's going there? I don't have to build 2 different sections in. So it can be a handy way to build just a touch faster. Okay, so we have our plates being produced on this side at 60 a minute, and we've got our 120 a minute screws being produced. So we need to start building our final assemblers for our reinforced plates. So there are our 2 assemblers. We're going to give ourselves just a touch of room because we have some belt work to deal with. Remember, all of our screws are coming in at 120, so anything we do needs to be a Mark II. So I'm going to go with the lift strategy on our screws, splitting it off, coming from this direction, and we're going to bring this line out over here. Actually, we're going to steal this lift and bring that down, just like we did over in our modular plate facility a while back. Nice clean line there. And we've solved our screw section. Let's go on over to our plates. Our plate output is connected up, and this could not be simpler. We just need a splitter right here, taking half of the inputs over to the other assembler. We will set these to produce reinforced iron plates, and we'll set up some storage. And there it is, a very linear factory, but honestly kind of a cool look. We've got our smelters over there, 120 ore a minute. Coming in, we are stealing 30 of that for our screws. These are our cast screws, so we're skipping the rod construction there, which is very handy. We're inputting that into our 2 assemblers, and then we're also taking 60 of our plates and putting it in here. Because, look, 120 divided by 2 is 60, and 60 divided by 2 is 30. It's a perfectly efficient factory. One of the first perfectly efficient, more complex factories we have built in this playthrough, producing 10 reinforced iron plates a minute. A minute has passed since I've been yapping at you guys, and I've already got 10 of them. That's the fastest we are producing them. So we are now going to solve for rotors, but we're probably going to do that in the next episode because it's getting dark and I've got a lot to do in the real world. So this has been the Green Hand. If you know who I am, if you comment what my channel name is in the quote real world where I actually live and do my work, I've got about 3.5 million subscribers on that channel. I will buy the very first person who comments it a copy of the deluxe edition of Satisfactory. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.